Long Island Talks here on News 12 Long Island, facing foreclosure on Long Island, how to avoid it, how to fight it. Once again, joining me, Lynn Law. She's the Director of Education and Counseling for the Long Island Housing Partnership. Bob Moulton's also here. He's the President of Americana Mortgage Group. Now, we have a caller on the line, Leslie, out in Amityville. And Wesley has a question about foreclosure. You want to find out if a relative can buy the house in foreclosure, correct? Wesley, are you there? Maybe not. All right, we lost that call, but why don't we get the answer to that question anyway? Can a relative buy your house if it's in foreclosure?
It really needs to be an arm's length transaction, because
what does that mean?
In other words, if one person in a family is buying the house from another person in a family, a bank really understands that is just a short-term fix to try to take that person out of foreclosure. So it's not advisable, because that person who's buying the house from a relative is just doing that to help him, of course, but that other person frequently will have his own home and have other financial obligations that they have to meet. The person who he bought the house from will really end up making the mortgage payment, so banks are not very keen on arm's length transactions.
Let's take another call. Let's head out to Merrick, where Kathy is on the line. Kathy?
Yes.
Hi, what's your question?
Good evening. My question is, with all the foreclosures that are going on here on Long Island, I purchased my home in 1991 for $130,000 in Merrick, a very nice neighborhood. Unfortunately, at this point in my time, every house I see, no matter what town it's in, is gargantuan. They're large homes. Obviously, these homes are going for a large amount of money. These people can't afford to have 50 and 60-year mortgages, and they're buying properties they can't afford. Where is somebody going to draw the line and have, like, you know, houses that are median houses, trade-up houses? You probably would keep more people here on Long Island if there was an intermediary. But anybody who's looking for a home now on Long Island is $500,000 or more, and they're buying them because they can't go anywhere else.
All right, good point from Kathy. I mean, is that part of the problem, that people are buying huge homes that they just can't possibly pay off?
Well, I think people are buying homes they can't afford, regardless of the size. I mean, there's a market for every, you know, price point and every size home. But Kathy's right. If they can't afford it, they shouldn't buy that home. Unfortunately, the market was the frenzy that Bob referred to, and people were buying everything.
That's right.
Well, you know, Long Island, when you look at the demographics of Long Island, and the population is growing at 5% a year, Long Island is an island. And it's becoming more and more difficult for first-time home buyers, and it's becoming more difficult for senior citizens. Energy costs have become very expensive over the last 5 years.
Talked about that last night, right?
Real estate taxes are going higher. There's more and more cars. There's more and more people.
There's an infinite amount of space.
And there's a finite, amount of space. And right. And so overall, you know, whether the house is 2,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet, it's a combination of buyers buying houses that they're in over the head. They have champagne tastes and beer pockets, we like to say.
Right.
But the cost to carry these houses need to be appreciated at the time of application, because it is very expensive.
Let's talk a little bit about options out there if you're facing foreclosure. There are certain options that are available to seniors in particular.
Yes, at the partnership we counsel for reverse mortgages.
And what is a reverse mortgage?
A reverse mortgage is it's an FHA-based loan. Seniors 62 and older can use the equity, tap into the equity in the house to pay off an existing lien, and it's based on their age, how much they might owe on the house, where they live.
So that's an option.
So it's definitely an option. It's not, you know, it's not applicable to all, because if they've borrowed too much out of the equity in the house, it might not work, but it's certainly something worth considering.
Let's take one more caller, head out to Southampton. Bob, are you there?
Hi, how are you? Yes, I'm
Hi.
here. Hi, I hope I can put this in the form of a question.
Me too.
Not just a statement, but my question, I guess, is where is the accountability for the banks, the mortgage companies, people who got rich off this frenzy? They drove the prices of houses up because, let's face it, a 1,400 or 1,500 square foot house is a house. Okay, if it takes $100,000 bills to buy it one year and then $600,000 bills to buy it the next year, it's deflating the value of that house, really, or I should say the value of the dollar bill. My point is that in Europe now, the bank over there was bought out, or I should say, they wrote a check for $100 billion. Here on Long Island, we got 7,000 people out of work. So the mortgage company went bust. Where is the accountability? Are we going to continue bailing out mortgage companies and banks that have propagated and actually promoted this whole circumstance that we have now with foreclosures, with with these tricky loans.
That's right.
I mean,
Bob,
where is the accountability for the mortgage companies and the banks?
Great question, Bob. So are we going to see, let's say, regulatory changes here for these loan companies? Are we going to see the federal government trying to help bail out some of these homeowners? What can you see in the future?
Well, the federal government has come out with guidelines, and they've come out with suggestions. They have not come out with any legislation to necessarily curtail the actions of realtors, attorneys,
Do you think
mortgage
we're going to see this if this becomes...
I think what you are seeing is the reduction of the number of lenders, maybe because of some of their aggressive lending policies and practices, and as a result of that, you're seeing less lenders. So I think because of that, it's self-correcting itself. In terms of accountability, that's a very difficult and gray area because all people are accountable when it comes to that particular transaction. And I think that's hard to make a blanket statement, but you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis if something was done improperly.
Would you say it's up to the homeowner? And accountability-wise, you need to educate yourself.
Absolutely.
And really find out what you're getting into.
It's really buyer beware. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is something that you don't want to buy. You have to keep asking the questions, and you need to get someone to represent you who is legal counsel, not referred by any other person in this transaction.
You need an attorney at that closing.
The most important part of your transaction is your attorney. This is a legal transaction besides a financial transaction.
Great advice. If you want some more of it, we have it all on our website. And for more information on tonight's show, you can find that as well on news12.com under numbers and links. You're watching Long Island Talks on News 12 Long Island.
I got a great deal on a flat pack.
Welcome back. This is Long Island Talks here on News 12 Long Island. This is time for our Sound Off segment. This is where you tell us your thoughts on any topic, and you do so by clicking onto our website, news12.com. So first up, many of you weighed in on LIPA Chairman Kevin Law and his decision to nix the Jones Beach windmill project. The chairman says it is just not economical for Long Islanders, and here's what one of you had to say about the decision. I am for these windmills. I believe it is worth a try, and with the money that LIPA gets from its customers, they could pay for this. I cannot believe that in the year 2007 cannot come up with an environmentally safe way to conserve energy. Why not invest in this technology? And this emailer suggests we should use the tools we already have in place. How about repowering Keyspan's 3 power plants in Northport, Port Jeff, and Barrett Island instead of that expensive, ineffective wind project? This would be a far better way to cut fuel and CO2 emissions and would cost much less. LIPA should be educating the public and pursuing repowering instead of brainwashing the public on wind turbine junk that costs a small fortune without producing much electricity. And also, folks are taking on the News12.com, talking on the News12.com sound-off board about East Meadow native John Cave and his service dog. The state is going to investigate the East Meadow School District for stopping John or preventing him, a hearing-impaired student, from bringing his service dog to class. Well, the district tried to block a state probe after John Cave's family filed a complaint. But a judge says that case should be heard. John has cochlear implants. He says he needs the dog for his safety. Here's what one of you had to say about this case. My issue with the case is that he can hear. If you remember, he has implants that work and has been functioning in the school setting. If he needed the dog to function, I would have a different opinion. Well, we thank you all for weighing in. We're out of time, but thank you for joining us here on Long Island Talks. Up next, Trish Bergen with your live News 12 Long Island News.